Spotting scopes are extremely helpful for identifying birds at long distances. If you want to identify birds like shorebirds and waterfowl, then they are essential. If you're looking for the best spotting scope under $1,000, look no further than the Hawke Endurance ED 85mm. This scope has all the range you could ever need for looking at birds that are several hundred yards away. This scope is currently on sale for $609, which is 23% off of its regular purchase price. And so I'll put a link down in the description to the Amazon link for this. And now let's get into the video. So one thing that I really like about this scope is its focus. There are two focus styles. One to move the focus very quickly, and another to fine-tune the focus once you've gotten within the general range needed to focus on a bird. In the field, this is super helpful for quickly focusing on a bird. And I can't tell you how many times I use the big knob and then switch very quickly to the smaller knob to fine-tune the focus. Another thing that this scope has is a lens hood, and I've only used this probably about once, but if you need it, you're going to be glad that you have it. And what a lens hood does is it keeps sun rays from going in your lens sideways and then making it really hard to see whatever you're looking at. So if you're having problems with that, you can just pop out the lens hood and then have a clear view at whatever you're trying to see. This scope does come with a case, which is really nice. I always have the case on the scope when I'm out in the field. And the case also has a strap that you can use, but most of the time this scope is on a tripod, and so I've never actually used the strap to carry the scope. The scope does have an eye relief, and I always have the eye relief down if I'm trying to get pictures or video through the scope, and most phones nowadays have 3 lenses on them. And so if you're going to try to do some digiscoping, which is taking pictures or video through the scope, then I'm going to recommend that you download the Phone Scope app, and inside that app, it's going to allow you to just use one of your lenses to go through there, so then you don't have any trouble getting pictures or video. This spotting scope has a 25 to 75 times zoom, which is a lot. Most of the time, I'm at 25 times zoom, but there are some cases where you need to go all the way to 75 times zoom to try to figure out what bird you're looking at. However, when you go out to 75 times, the biggest problem that you're going to encounter is heat shimmer. And heat shimmer is a pretty common problem with spotting scopes, especially when going out to very far distances and zoomed out very far at like 75 times. And while the spotting scope does do a great job at minimizing heat shimmer compared to other scopes, there is still going to be some heat shimmer with this. And so that's why I usually am at 25 times zoom, but if you're looking at birds and can identify them just based on shape, you don't need to see color or anything like that, then 75 times zoom is going to be pretty helpful. This scope has a tripod foot on it, and so you're going to need a tripod plate to connect this to a tripod. You could handhold this scope, but it's kind of heavy, and for best results, I would recommend getting a tripod because you're going to want to lean this up against something in order to get any kind of clear looks. For the tripod plate, I recommend this plate by Colorado Tripod Co. It fits this scope. I'll link it up in the video description below, and really, with tripod foots, you're just looking for something that's strong and made out of aluminum, and this one fits the bill. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll put a link to the scope in the video description below so you can go check it out. And if you don't already have a really sturdy tripod, you're going to need one because this scope is pretty heavy and you definitely don't want it tipping over in high winds or something like that. And so for the full review of my Leofoto tripod that I use, go and click or tap right here.